Receipts, not rhetoric 2. Continuity is a system, not a platform. An edge device first. Regulator-safe architecture for authors who plan to outlive platforms. MXDM, aka Vitsu. January 1st, 2026. How to publish without asking permission and without disappearing. By Pirate First MXDM's newsletter. There is a difference between speaking loudly and leaving a record. Most online writing today confuses the two. Volume is mistaken for permanence. Engagement for proof. Reach for truth. This piece is not about persuasion. It is about continuity. This is a technical note, written in plain language, for authors who understand that if a thing matters, it must survive more than a platform's mood. How to keep writing when platforms fail. There is a quiet assumption baked into modern publishing, that the platform will still be there tomorrow. Substack, Medium, Ghost, X, even GitHub. History suggests otherwise. This piece is not about rage-quitting platforms. It's about removing them from the single point of failure. What follows is a minimal, auditable continuity system for authors who want their work to remain verifiable, retrievable, and sovereign. Even if they are temporarily unavailable, overrun by demand, deplatformed, incapacitated, or simply gone. No hype, no tokens, no ideology, just receipts. What this receipts, not rhetoric 2, refers to disambiguation. Show evidence. Bring sources. Don't bluff. This follow-up is literal. Receipts, not rhetoric. 2, refers to a working system that produces cryptographic proof instead of trust, explicit availability instead of silence, verifiable intent instead of policy promises. No arguments, just receipts. From burn to build. This is not a manifesto. This is a receipt. For years, creators were told that resilience meant platform diversification. In practice, that meant trusting more intermediaries, not fewer. This project starts from a colder premise. If a text matters, it must survive its author, its platform, and its moment. Not by going viral, not by being hosted in the cloud, but by being provably authored, deliberately served, and explicitly governed. What follows is not a product. It is a minimal continuity primitive, designed to survive hostile platforms, absent authors, overloaded creators, and regulatory scrutiny without pretending to be revolutionary. What this system is. Let's be precise. This system is a local first continuity mechanism for sovereign authors. Publishing small, durable texts markdown, using cryptographic receipts instead of trust. Coordinated via Nostr, not stored on it. The problem, authors disappear for boring reasons. Writers don't vanish because they are wrong. They disappear because accounts are suspended. Payment rails are interrupted. Hosting costs spike. Attention moves on. Life intervenes. The internet is optimized for publishing, not survival. This project addresses that gap, quietly. The principle, coordination, not hosting. The system described here uses Nostr, but not as social media and not as storage. Nothing is uploaded to relays. No content is mirrored. No files are copied. No audience is aggregated. Instead, Nostr is used strictly as a coordination layer, a timestamping mechanism, a state signaling bus. Think lighthouse, not warehouse. What actually happens, high level? An author does 4 things. Anchors a local markdown file by publishing its SHA-256 hash proof the file existed at a specific time. Declares availability active / overcapacity / unavailable. Authorizes specific edge devices explicit, revocable, read-only. Serves the file locally only if authorized, only if available. That's it. No platform owns the text. No relay stores it. No intermediary decides who may read. What this system refuses to be important. This matters more than what it does. This is not a hosting service, a CDN, a VPN, a file-sharing network, a payment processor, a social platform, an anonymity tool, a monetization infrastructure, a platform replacement. Those things invite regulation. This invites inspection and passes it. There are no user accounts. There is no growth loop. There is no monetization logic. This restraint is the feature. Availability is explicit, not inferred. Most systems treat silence as failure. Here, silence is a state. If an author marks themselves unavailable, authorized edges stop serving. Readers receive a clear signal. Nothing breaks, nothing escalates. If the network goes dark, the system fails closed. No speculative serving. No ambiguous behavior. Absence is acknowledged, not exploited. Why this matters now? We are entering an era where platforms are brittle. Moderation is opaque. Archives are provisional. Speech survives at someone else's discretion. The answer is not louder rhetoric. The answer is boring, legible machinery that does one thing well and then stops. For readers, if you encounter a text anchored this way, you can verify it existed. You can verify who authored it. You can verify when it was published. You can tell whether the author is available. You do not need to trust tone, reputation, or reach. For authors, this system does not make you famous. It does not protect you from criticism. It does not automate success. What it does is simpler. It ensures that if your work matters enough to keep, it does not vanish quietly. The reference implementation. A minimal, auditable Node.js implementation is published here. GitHub repository link. It is intentionally small. It is intentionally incomplete. It is intentionally boring. That is the point. 1. Platforms are not archives. Platforms optimize for engagement, not continuity. They host content. They do not guarantee existence. When an article disappears, readers argue. When a hash exists, the argument ends. This system treats publishing as two separate acts. Writing, local, human, fragile. Proof, cryptographic, machine verifiable, durable. The platform becomes optional. 2. Other things this system actually does and does not do. This is not a hosting platform. It does not store articles on a network. It does not anonymize users, route traffic, or evade law enforcement. Instead, it does 4 very specific things. Anchors a cryptographic hash of a markdown file to Nostr. Declares the author's availability state, active/overcapacity/unavailable. Publishes a signed whitelist of authorized edge devices. Allows those devices to serve files only under explicit conditions. That's it. Everything else is deliberately excluded. 3. Why Nostr and why empty content? Nostr is used here as a coordination and verification layer, not a content layer. Every event published by this system contains a public key, a timestamp, explicit intent, no article text. The content field is intentionally empty. This ensures 0 leakage of unpublished or paywalled work, no relay storage burden, no ambiguity about what is being proven. The network records that something existed, not what it said. 4. Availability is a first-class signal. Most systems assume authors are always on. That assumption breaks at scale. This system lets an author cryptographically declare active serve normally. Overcapacity throttle politely. Unavailable stop serving entirely. If the author goes offline, the default is silence. No zombie publishing. No silent delegation. No automated legacy mode without consent. 5. Edge serving, not mass distribution. Authorized devices act as read-only edges. They serve local.md files. Verify authorization before responding. Respect the author's declared state. Fail closed if coordination breaks. They cannot modify content. Republish under another name. Override author intent. Think stewardship, not mirroring. 6. Why this is regulator-safe and boring on purpose. This system has a single accountable author key, publishes explicit, inspectable intent, refuses to serve when unavailable, does not host user-generated content. There is no marketplace, no financial instrument, no anonymity guarantee. It is intentionally boring because boring survives review. 7. The code, reference implementation. The full reference implementation is public and auditable. GitHub repository, https://github.com/piratefirst/nostr-sovereign-edge-anchor. This is not a platform. It is a pattern. It is not a network. It is not a movement. It is a continuity protocol. It exists for one narrow reason: to ensure that an author's work can remain verifiable, available, and intentionally served even when platforms fail, policies shift, or attention evaporates. No hype, no tokens, no growth loops, just receipts. Modern authors are trapped in a fragile triangle. Platforms control visibility. Payment rails control survival. Policies control legitimacy. When any one of these shifts, the author disappears, not because their work vanished, but because access did. This protocol does not try to fight that reality. It simply routes around it. The system draws a hard line. Content is never stored on Nostr. Relays never carry files. No third-party hosts anything on your behalf. Instead, Nostr is used strictly as a proof of existence ledger, a state signaling layer, an authorization bulletin. Think of it as a cryptographic notice board, not a warehouse. The four primitives, that's the whole system. There are only four moving parts. 1. Proof of existence, anchoring. Each markdown file is hashed locally, SHA 256. Only the hash is published. Result: anyone can verify that this exact text existed at that exact time, without ever seeing the text. 2. Explicit availability, state declaration. The author can declare one of three states: active, overcapacity, unavailable. If unavailable, the system stops serving immediately, intentionally, cryptographically. Silence becomes a feature, not a failure. 3. Authorized edge devices. Only explicitly whitelist public keys may serve files. No open mirrors. No anonymous replication. No accidental delegation. Authorization is revocable with one signed event. 4. Local first edge serving. Markdown files are served only from authorized devices, only when the author permits it, only in read-only mode. No uploads, no edits, no mutations. Fail closed by design. If something goes wrong, relay outage, network failure, ambiguity, the system defaults to unavailable. This is not censorship resistance theater. This is author sovereignty. Availability is never inferred. It is always declared. Why regulators can read this calmly? Because nothing here obscures authorship, launders money, hosts third-party content, automates distribution, removes human intent. Every action is explicit, signed, reversible, attributable. This is governance by restraint. Why authors should care? If you write work that matters after the hype cycle, you need something quieter than platforms. Something that leaves receipts, respects absence, survives neglect, doesn't need permission to exist. This is that layer. Status. The reference implementation is live, minimal, auditable, boring. That's intentional. Because continuity is not supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to still be there when everything else isn't. The core insight: coordination is not equal to storage. The key design decision is almost boring. Content never touches the network. Only proofs do. The system uses Nostr events for exactly three things: proof of existence, hash anchoring; explicit availability signaling, author state; explicit authorization, who may serve. The actual text files remain on the author's machine or on explicitly authorized edge devices. Served read-only. Revocable at any time. No relay stores content. No platform owns the text. No intermediary decides availability. That separation alone eliminates most failure modes. The three receipts that matter. The entire system collapses into three signed facts. 1. The anchor. ASHA 256 hash of a.md file is signed and published. This proves the text existed in that exact form at that moment by that author. Nothing more, nothing less. 2. The state. The author declares one of three states: active, overcapacity, unavailable. This is not advisory fluff. Edge devices must obey it. If the author is unavailable, Serving stops. Period. 3. The authorization list. The author publishes a white list of public keys. These devices may serve my work. No others. No delegation of authorship. No silent mirroring. No implied consent. Latest event wins. Revocation is immediate. Why this survives scrutiny? This architecture is intentionally boring to regulators. There is no custody of user funds, no user accounts, no algorithmic distribution, no content amplification, no monetization layer, no promises of permanence, just files, hashes, signatures, explicit states. If the system disappears tomorrow, nothing is trapped inside it. That's not a weakness. That's compliance by design. Why this matters now? Creators are entering a phase shift. Visibility without continuity. Reach without control. Monetization without durability. This system doesn't try to fix discovery. It doesn't try to fix income. It doesn't try to fix culture. It fixes one thing only: the right for a text to outlive the circumstances of its publication. That's it. What comes later, carefully. Future layers may include anchored-only serving, serve-only hashed texts, stewardship bounties, executor-mediated continuity, posthumous activation, deferred compensation. None of those are required today. None of them are baked in prematurely. This is a spine, not a cathedral. The covenant. This project operates under a simple covenant. No hidden expansion of scope. No silent behavior changes. No extraction by default. No irreversibility. If a feature threatens sovereignty, it is rejected, even if it's profitable. Especially if it's profitable. Closing. Rhetoric persuades. Receipts endure. If platforms disappear, arguments don't matter. Hashes do. If we want a future where writing outlives platforms, we have to build the infrastructure that assumes failure and continues anyway. This is what it looks like to publish as if continuity mattered. This is one such attempt. Skull and crossbones. Receipts over rhetoric. Silence over spectacle. Continuity over clout. Optional Substack note, short. This is not a platform. It's a receipt printer for reality. Discussion about this episode. Comments. Res tax. Recent episodes.
The techno-nomads who arbitrated the fall of nations.
Raise the black. And so we did, and so we never lowered it again. Patience and a quiet venom, smart and slow. Under static anger spreads, code drips below. No peace in the silence, just a warning. Raw heartbeat sinks with the siren of new war. Bitterness spikes and I sip on the glitch. Digital venom, pixels twitch. I draw my plans into smoke and zeros tonight. Pirates fracture all their heroes.
Another hero falls, another broken scene. They promised truth, they promised light, but all I got was another sleepless night. Join the fight of solidarity, we're stronger together.
They say I'm going too far, but I'm just who I am. Breaking through the firewall, watch the systems fall. You will never be a billionaire, you stupid fuck. The game is rigged, it's time to say enough.
We take the wheel, will they save us all? We'll play the foe, the clock's ticking fast. Where do we go? Knowledge, power, the future seed belongs to us all, not the lords of greed. Claim it now, like the end of the ring. Save your ability to sign this thing.
But every corrupt system falls.
Receipts, not rhetoric. A field guide to sovereign provisioning. How to build without asking permission or breaking the law. By Pirate First for MXTM's newsletter.
X Prize. Start building, man.
The winning solutions will demonstrate that replication, not growth, is the correct unit of scale for global provisioning.
X Prize. Start.
The circus survives on reaction. It feeds on outrage, applause, ridicule, belief. It does not care what you think, only that you respond.
The audio booklet, The Afterlife Protocol by Pirate First.